If you're trying to target lumbricals for your clients, I want to show you 3 exercises that are pretty accessible and quite easy to kind of regress and progress. So we're going to start with footwork first. I've got 1.5 springs, fairly light. If you want to have a little bit more, you absolutely can. So that's 1 red spring and 1 blue spring. I'm going to start on my back. And this is a traditional or classical Pilates exercise. It's quite basic. It is, what is it? Lower and lift. Thank you. And we're going to start with the toes curled around the bar, heels together or in parallel, whichever you'd like. You can do both depending on what you're going for and which calf or posterior compartment muscles you want to bias. So we're going to start with a little bit of high half toe, keeping those toes curled, but definitely for our hypermobile people especially, don't lock out into full plantar flexion. So we want to maintain a bit of tension into the aponeurosis or the plantar fascia. We're going to press out and then fold back in. So maintaining that pressure through the hallux, through the big toes. Get that windlass mechanism. We're going to press out and fold. And then we're going to come down into heel lifts or heel raises. So making sure again that those toes are working. We're maintaining pressure down through the first met head and then lifting up and then coming back down for a big stretch. You can also do this unilaterally and you get a little bit more of a deep stretch, which can feel really, really great. So after this one, it's also really nice to kind of walk it out. You can do a little bit of a massage if your arches are feeling a little bit tight. That can be really nice. Okay, so next one, we're going to come up into standing, or sort of standing. We're going to have 1.5 springs or 1.25, depending on your clients. I'm going to stay at 1.5. This is an advanced exercise. It is arabesque. We're going to have 2 hands on the bar, but over to one side. So this left hand is in the middle, right hand is over on the end. I'm going to bring my right foot back towards the shoulder rest. We're going to lift that leg up nice and long. And we're going to be really focusing on that arch. So oftentimes when people are doing the exercise, they start to collapse in. And so giving them a little bit of support or a little bit of a cue to stay out of the arch or to stay into the outer borders or the lateral borders of the foot can be really helpful. Keeping that leg nice and straight to press and then back in. If you want even more inner thigh for that deep front line, we can come into even greater rotation through the trunk, just like that. So maintain that lift. I don't know if you can see me shaking, but it's a lot of work. If it's too much stretch or your client doesn't have the hamstring length, you can go into a bent leg, which is attitude. So coming through and folding in. So we're looking at a deep fold in the front of the hips and then also making sure we're not losing the stance leg out towards the side. So just a couple of things to look out for with that one. Lastly, we're going to go into standing carriage press. Drop this all the way down. I'm going to come into 1 full spring, grab my platform extender. Again, you don't have to. I always just use it for a safety measure. We're going to press it right up against the platform because if it's not, it can get caught up in that foot strap. This side first, as always, coming up, and then the foot onto the carriage. So we're going to do carriage press, which means we're going to come into like a little baby squat. I want you to think of not collapsing, but sort of crunching and folding down and then pressing one leg out. So for this one, we're going to be thinking of keeping this arch nice and lifted as this one goes out. And then if you want to switch it up, you can go into platform press, which means we're going to go this way while keeping the weight over this leg. So a little bit more challenging now because there's way more balance required to keep our weight on the sliding carriage, and all the while making sure we're lifting through that arch. What is this foot doing? Is it on the lateral border? Is it sort of collapsing? Can we keep things squared through the 4 corners of the feet or the 3 corners? I'm gripping my toes. Now that I'm checking in with myself, I'm like, am I gripping my toes? I am. So we're going to make sure that the toes stay nice and free. We're going to keep the pressure down through those met heads, and we're going to feel a little bit of a lift through the arches. So some really great ways to kind of add a little bit of a lumbrical focus or an arch focus into your treatment plan.